Welcome to Check Engine Lights Anonymous, the only podcast support group for automotive oddities, car calamities, industry insights, track day excuses, and venting about what keeps our engine lights on. I'm LT, currently obsessing over the fact there's a rattle in my Fiesta's door card. Joining me in recovery is Ollie Anthony, who's likely to heckle you for a better price on a high ace, particularly if it's been around the block a few times. And hiding away, pushing all the buttons and knobs, is our podcast crew chief and producer, Borko Veselinov. So let's get straight into it. How are you going, Ollie? You're in a t-shirt, and I am like 4 layers thick.
I've just come out of hoodie in Queensland, so yeah, that's pretty standard. Is it cliche for an Englishman to talk about the weather? I don't know, but
well, you live in Brisbane, where it's nice and warm supposedly, and I'm currently freezing my butt off in Adelaide, and so is Borko, where it's apparently 12 in Melbourne. So I can imagine you're actually the one enjoying life a little bit more than we do.
Yes, well, there's a reason I'm in Queensland, that's for sure. I've done my time in the cold for sure. So that's it. So tell me about this? What's going on with the Fiesta?
So it's just this little car. I love them dearly, but they doing the typical Ford thing where one thing is fixed and then something else kind of happens, and it's never a big deal. It's just kind of annoying. So on the way back from the Riverland on Friday, there was just a rattle in the door, and I figured it was probably like trash or sunglasses or something. So I emptied out the door card. And then this morning, you know how you're driving along and it just kind of ticks away in the side of your brain. You're like, what is that noise? And then I spent 10, 15 minutes before we jumped down here trying to figure out what it could possibly be, and I still haven't found it. So that's going to be my obsession.
Yeah, I've definitely pulled dashboards apart before because of rattles that drive me nuts. So I'm with you on that. Good.
So hopefully it calms itself down. But, I won't have to deal with it because next week we're going to be filming. We've got 4 cars deep. There'll be plenty going on. But it does mean that I'm going to miss the 24 hours of Le Mans. So that's a little bit of annoying because that's coming up soon. Have you ever been?
I've only got the page. No, I've not been. I got invited one year. I didn't get a chance to go. But yeah, that's a cool race. Lots of stuff happening. To be honest, I only have the patience for probably watching the highlights, to be honest with you.
I'm the who falls asleep to race car noises. So I'll put it on in the background and like clean the house or cook or something. And then as soon as I sit down on the couch, I'm out cold to race car noises for however long they're on. So
it's a good way to do it. Look, it's a good way to do it. I'm the same with F1. If I put the F1 on, it's literally to fall asleep on a Sunday afternoon. I know the time zones don't really work here anymore, but I'll watch the start, fall asleep, then you normally get the pit stops, and then you get the end and see who wins. And that's about all that happens.
If F1 was ever exciting again, we might be able to stay up and actually watch it. Right now,
Canada was good though. I didn't mind Canada. It was. I mean, we haven't really got a F1 as a topic because it feels like an age ago, even when we're recording this, and this won't come out for a couple of weeks. But yeah, some interesting strat choices by the McLarens, and yeah, it was a bit of a weird one, that wasn't it? But
yeah. I have to come back to F1 when they there's a bigger race coming up later in the year that I think would be really interesting when they go to Monza, because it'd be interesting to see how the cars do in that sort of hyperbolic or hyperbolica, the big high speed
parabolica. Yeah, the last
parabolica.
Corner.
There we go.
Yeah.
Because I'm curious how that's going to go with the strategy, but
run out of energy. Simple as that.
Exactly. I'm like, that's a very fast track, and they've got 3 major brake zones, and that's it.
Yeah, I think so. 70-80% of the lap is at full throttle. I can't remember the stat, but it's crazy, isn't it? It's a really big one. But yeah. Anyway, well, look, we're not here to talk about F1 today. I think today, look, we're going to go through a few things. I think you've put some topics down there for what is a modern hot hatch. So I'm really excited to talk about that. Then we've got some news to go through, and then we're going to be talking about something really exciting that's happening next week, which is our recording schedule, right? So take it away, Lee. You've written this one in, so tell me what this is about. What's the go?
So I'm curious. You grew up in the UK where hot hatches were a big part of car culture, and I have always loved them, being close to performance cars and autocross and track days. And so when you hear the term hot hatch, what comes to mind, both like in a modern setting and in like nostalgic wise.
I am cheating because I'm looking at your notes right now and pretty much what you've said. So the original one for me, I had a Mark III Fiesta. It was my first car. I liked the Mark III Fiesta RS. I think it was called an RS. I don't even know what it was called. That had like a 1.6, 1.8 turbo in it. Nuts, right? So basically just really small car, massive engine, and let's go. That's it. Nothing else. That's traditionally what a hot hatch means to me. And yeah, the Renault 5, I don't know if you got that in America or outside of Europe.
No, we never had that outside of in the US.
You would love the Renault 5 Turbo. They are fantastic. So they're sort of the entry into, or you had the Fiesta XR2Is as like the mid sort of hot hatches. Then mid 2000s, I owned a hot hatch as well, about 2009, which is a Seat Ibiza FR. That to me is the sweet spot of performance balanced with size of car, i.e., definitive hot hatch. We're talking, Mark V Fiesta ST, that 150 horsepower, 12 to 1400 kilos. And that's where it is. That's the best. That is the epitome of hot hatch, right? And now I think they've lost their way a bit now. I think they're just too fast. I really think they're just too nuts. Even your Fiesta, that's probably about the top limit of what I'd consider a hot hatch. It's 200 horsepower. They're getting up there. The weight's got up there because of all the safety stuff now as well. I think they're just losing their way a little bit. And it's not always about more power. We don't need a 300 horsepower hot hatch. And a hot hatch to me is that small class. So it's the Polo, if you're looking at the Volkswagen size, or the Fiesta. Then if we go one up from that, which is the Golf size, you get hot hatches there with the GTI and the Golf R and the, whatever it is. But we talked about this a few weeks ago. They're nuts. They're 350, 400 horsepower, some of these. The AMG Mercedes A45, I think, is the most powerful one. That started the trend. What's that? 345 horsepower.
Oh, it's almost 400, I think, in the current one. Yeah.
I mean, it's not a hot hatch at this point. It's a bloody racing car.
Yeah, basically. So I agree. I think, when I think about original hot hatch, it was Golf GTI. I think that's what everyone kind of, equates to.
That's the benchmark. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, it was a benchmark. Yeah. It was supposed to be a car that's fun to drive, affordable, fast. You can put the groceries in the back, and it's cheap to purchase. Like, it wasn't an absorbent amount of money. I mean, an A45S is over $100,000. An RS3 is over $100,000 here in Australia. Like, they're ridiculous money. I would class those cars in like the hyper hatch category.
Yeah, that's it. I've never heard of them put that way before, but that definitely is what it is, isn't it? It's a hyper hatch.
I would even put the Golf R in that category, even though it's less powerful. It's just because price point and power output and like their incredible performance. And don't get me wrong, I love the hot hatch segment, but a modern hot hatch to me is a car that's affordable, powerful, good to drive, and can kind of do a little bit of everything. And unfortunately in Australia, we're losing have lost quite a few hot hatches, including my favorite hot hatch, which is the Megane RS. In fact, Borko has a 300 trophy, and after we filmed it a couple of years ago, he went and bought one. I've had multiple hot hatches. I had it's not really a hot hatch, but it's the same platform. I had a Jetta Turbo, which was like the Golf GTI sedan version. Then I had a Fiesta. I've had a Clio 172 Renault Sport. I've had a Mark III Renault Sport Megane, so the 265 trophy. I've had a Cooper S Mini. I have a Fiesta ST right now, which is even bigger than the original like Golf GTI by width and length. Like, it's a bigger footprint.
Yeah, you've actually, I had so much emotion that came through when we were speaking about that, just from it literally was because that is all that we drive in Europe is small hatches. Like maybe this changed a bit now, but when I was growing up, a normal / big car is a Golf or a estate car like that. That's a big car. A small car is that Polo. That's they're the sort of three classes most people drive, and yeah, now they've just got bananas. And then that's it. It's just, that's what's kind of come into my head is all the emotion of all those years of those different cars coming through. So it's really, really like a motive question for me. That was, so it's very interesting. But yeah.
I think for us car guys, particularly those of us who like grew up in the 90s like we did, there's a really strong connection to the everyday man's play toy or performance car, which would have been a hot hatch, I guess, for us. And nowadays, I was looking through, getting ready for this segment, looking at, what are the best, what would be considered hot hatches or hot affordable cars right now. And the benchmark, now that the Renault is dead, in my mind, is the Type R Civic. And that's very much a hot hatch. But here, they're 85 grand for a hot hatch Civic. Like a Type R is 85 grand. And then the next most expensive car by that is the legendary GTI. And the GTI still starts at like 63, but if you spec it up really high, you're, close to 70 before on roads. And even an i30N sedan, which is a very good car, is going to be close to 60. And that's the cheapest of those three.
No
and that's
DCT.
A lot of bang for buck.
That's manual though. If you want to go DCT.
Oh no, that's DCT.
Premium.
That's
DCT. Okay. That must be before on roads then, because I looked recently. They were sort of 65 drive away, I think. From
they just changed. So the sedan, I think the hatch is still a bit pricier, which is wild to me because the sedan's a better car. The sedan is 59 and some change. I have a feel. Yeah, we're driving it soon, so I'll the update soon. So I think I have a feeling my gut will be correct if I remember the hatches and the sedan correctly. But then to your point earlier about small cars affordable, if we want to think hot hatch, what is small, affordable, powerful? For us, there's only three options. You've got the Mini Cooper, so the 3-door Mini JCW. That's 67 with on roads, 55 start for the loaded model. Then you've got a Polo GTI, which is 48, so a big difference between a Mini and a Polo. And then you've got the i20N, and I owned an i20N, and I can tell you that's a great little car. And so, but what else is there? I can't think of anything.
But that's your choice. And the thing is, I think the difference is between now and 20 years ago is you could buy, like you said, cars that are going to be way cheaper than that. I get there's inflation, but equivalent price is probably 40 to 40, maybe a bit less, 30 to 40 for the equivalent of an i20N. So I think, Renault Clio Trophy even probably at that sort of price. And Mini JCW of the time is going to be 20 to 30 grand, somewhere around there. I don't know, but a bit cheaper. But then you can modify it to make it how you want. So a lot of these cars, I know, for example, the Polo doesn't come with, I don't know if the new one does, but I drove last year or the year before's one. They don't have a limited slip diff in them, and you need that. And that's a massive change to make for a car like that. Whereas now you spend 40 grand, it has to go on finance because it's expensive, and you don't want to change anything on it because it's a really expensive thing. So maybe it's the price that's actually changed that market, and it might just not be cheap enough or affordable enough to do it. I don't know.
Price definitely for sure. But if I'm thinking about just like the philosophical existence of a hot hatch in the modern time, I think it really is, Polo GTI and Mini. And the reason I exclude the i20 out of this is because the i20 is so sharp and so aggressive as a car. it almost kind of negates the everyday usability to some extent. Like, I owned one. I really enjoyed it. And it is stiffer than my Fiesta ST, and my Fiesta ST is incredibly stiff. And so if you're not into that sort of thing, it doesn't really bode well to like take to the shops. But the i20N is only available in manual as well. So if you want a car that can run around Melbourne or Sydney traffic a bit easier, then you've got to go Polo or JCW. But even with the JCW, the Cooper, it's 30 grand more, 25 grand more, sorry, than the Polo.
So buy an i20N and then buy something comfortable to run around in. I think that's the message,
well, that's
right?
fair. Yeah, but the whole philosophy though is like one car, one garage space, one parking space, affordable, fun, fast. Not thinking about track days,
I mean, the daddy
options.
has to. I think the daddy has to be Golf GTI, and I know I'm contradicting myself there, but that is that compromise because you get more space. There's too much power. Maybe even you went one down. Maybe there's I don't know. I have to look at the range, but is there a model below the GTI?
Not right now.
There isn't one?
So no. So I really like the GTI when we had it a couple of years ago, and I haven't driven the software update yet. But it's a great all-arounder, but it lacks soul. But the soulful cars for me were like the Renault Sport Megane, where it was really, no matter what you did and what mode you were in, it was talking back to you. It was chatting to you. It had a bit more charismatic engine. And again, that's why I bought my Fiesta and replaced my i20s, because my i20N was a great car, but it was a bit too much of a scalpel and didn't feel fun on the road. Whereas the Mini I've driven felt fun on the road. And the Fiesta felt fun on the road. Does that make sense? Like I think there's track car front wheel drive weapon, and then there's like reality of owning a hot hatch, where if you drive it every day, you still want it to feel a certain way.
Yeah, and that to me. So when I owned it, I used to have a Golf. It was a Mark V, GTD. Effectively, it wasn't called a GTD, but it was a GT. That to me just did everything. It didn't do the tracky stuff that well because it was a diesel at the end of the day. But I used to drive 40,000 miles a year in that car, and you could fit 5 people in it, big boot. So it did all the lifestyle stuff nicely. It was really nice to drive as well. But it just didn't have that extra edge, which is arguably how most people would want their car set up, because, you might go to the track twice a year, 3 times a year, most people. But yeah, if you want that more performance, then it depends how much you want to spend, right? So yeah, it's, but yeah, you've made a really interesting point though, which is going from, without looking at the numbers, there was probably options of 10 different cars before. Now we're down to, there's three in that small hot hatch category.
And then I would say that we've probably got 5 in the other category.
Yeah, but then it makes me think, what's next? Is it just going to be EVs? And does that, to me, that category has now died if we go EV, because you need it has to be light. The car has to be light for it to be a hot hatch, and the two don't go to each other. The only exception that I would say that has that, and you use the word character and soul, and that's all, that kind of language, is the Renault 5. Have you seen those? I don't think they sell.
Going.
Yeah, I don't think they sell them in Australia, but
not yet. No.
Well, then, and yeah, they've got that super hot one, which isn't mass market. It's 200 grand or something like that, isn't it? But it's and it's got scaffolding in the back and stuff. But that is basically a Renault 5 turbo, but in the modern time with the electricness anyway. So.
Well, I think you're onto something there, and that's kind of where I was going with this, is as cars become electrified, how do we find that affordable, fun car? And I was diving into the numbers, and I looked at the GTI versus a Mini Aceman, which is their kind of bigger platform car, because the Mini doesn't do a JCW version of the 5-door Cooper, and it's smaller, but it's not the Countryman, which is the SUV. So the Aceman comes in a JCW version that's front-wheel drive, around the same power output as the GTI, about 5 kilowatts less, similar performance levels. But if you're going for a car that can do something every single day, and you look just purely at price, they're within $1,000 of each other. So are you going to go GTI for the gentleman's hot hatch sort of vibe? Because if you want full performance, you got to go R, and that adds $10,000. Or do you go something like a Mini Aceman, where you've got, the personality of the Mini, the beautiful interiors, the customization, but it's maybe not as quick in a straight line. But knowing JCW, we haven't driven it. In fact, we're driving it this week. It's probably going to be quite playful. But I guess that's what I'm wondering about. Is that philosophically still a hot hatch now?
Oh, look, for me, it's a no-brainer. Right now, again, dinosaur, I'm still going GTI would be for that use case. I've also lived with a Mini, albeit not an Aceman. It was the hatch, so it's a bit different. But there are a lot of compromises that come with that hatch. So it's very small. The boot is very, very small. And we're talking about a 15-year-old car now, so it's a very different proposition. But yeah, compared to me, I need to get the two next to each other to really understand it. And like you said, we're driving the Aceman, I think next week or this week, whenever it is.
Week,
and I'm gonna, maybe my perception will change, but to me, a hot hatch at the moment it's a petrol car, and it comes back to that. It has to have that. It's too much weight.
Yeah,
I think the weight difference between that Aceman and the GTI is probably going to be, without even looking at the stats, it will be 200 kilos minimum more heavier. So it's
I think,
yeah.
For me, I think about that again, because the weight of cars is just it is what it is right now, because we've got safety systems and batteries and all that. But I think about just the philosophical experience with the cars. In 2020, I was cross-shopping the Golf R with the Mini Clubman JCW, and I was just in love with the character that Mini was able to put into the Clubman. It was just a phenomenal little car, even though it wasn't as fast as the Golf, and objectively the Golf was a better car. The R, it didn't have the soul that the Mini had, so day to day, it just wasn't as exciting or fun. So I'm really hoping that when we have the i30 and the Aceman next to each other, that we'll see similar things, but maybe different approaches.
Well, that's what I worry about with the Mini being electric. That is my concern. I've owned a classic Mini, or my best friend has, and I've sort of helped him maintain that. I've had a R53 Mini Cooper diesel, loved that car, and you're right, it has so much character, and I hope they've managed to capture that essence with the electric. It's going to be a difficult thing to do though, so we'll have to see how that goes. So yeah, what are you choosing? So I know we'll finish up on this. What are you choosing? If we prior to driving the Mini, and based on your knowledge right now, are you saying you go with the Aceman or the GTI?
Oh, you put me in a weird. Oh no, I wasn't prepared for this question. I think if I had to blind pick one, I think, because my first love of hot hatch was a GTI, a Mark 6 GTI, I would probably have to give me the GTI. But I also know that Mini does it so well. And I know a few people have an Aceman and they love it. So if it was a Cooper JCW, a petrol Cooper JCW versus GTI, I would go Cooper, no hesitation. But since it's the Aceman, I don't know, Ollie. That's hard.
Yeah,
I don't know. I've got a reference
question
for GTI, but I don't know.
Yeah.
No. I don't know. Screw it. I go GTI.
Yeah. Okay. So that's 2-0 GTI then. But look, that might change it. Maybe we'll ask that question in the video, and we'll ask that at the end, and we'll say, do we still prefer the Aceman or do we prefer the GTI? So that's
I think it'd be interesting.
Cool.
So we've had quite a lot of news the last 2 weeks. So you want to jump us into that segment?
Yeah, so we'll go through that. You're right. We've got this really exciting news, and look, actually, starting with some really sad news, which is from one of Lee's fellow countrymen that we saw. Carl Busch sadly passed away, and I just wanted to mention this just to give some accolades to the guy because I'm not a massive NASCAR fan. I know you are, Lee, but look, two things that stood out for me, and I just thought we'd give him a mention is that. He's, 41, really sad that he'd passed away so young, but he raced in 1,300, just over 1,300 races, and he won 234 and had 515 podium finishes. Like, what an amazing driver for a start. And also, I'd probably say person as well, which I'm sure, Lee, you're going to tell me an anecdote now.
Yeah. When I was in university or college, I worked in NASCAR and marketing. And Rowdy Busch, as he's known, was much younger and much more fiery then. But I had worked with him in peripheral a couple of times, and he's always been a lovely human being. And I have friends and family who have worked with him directly, and always say how fun he is as a person. So whenever the news was broke, I guess last week before, it was really sad for the community, and it hits those of us who have worked in the industry really hard because it's a small community. And not only is he an incredible racer with an incredible set of accolades, he's a team owner. He is a massive proponent for the youth in the sport. He is involved very heavily in that. And so it was really sad to lose someone of that caliber. But he will not be forgotten because there's so many great highlights of him. Losing is cool, but also being a really funny human. So if you want to see some really interesting NASCAR history, just look up Rowdy Busch, and you'll get plenty of interesting videos.
Yeah, well, thanks for explaining that, Lee. And I think, look, just overall, really sad, and just thoughts with his family because ultimately that's too young. 41 is not. That's really sad, but yeah.
And I can't remember if it was Penske or if it was Childers. I can't remember who he was racing with, but his car number has been retired, which is a big thing, and the car number has been reserved for his child, who's involved in racing still. So if the kid ever wants to run NASCAR,
that's really nice.
Premier Series, the Cup Series, the team has said that number's for him.
Yeah, it's a nice gesture, isn't it? So yeah, that's fantastic. But yeah. All right. Well, look, on to keep it on racing. I just wanted to mention this because we don't really do motorbikes a lot, although I will be reviewing mine at some point. Is the Isle of Man
love a two-wheel vehicle?
Yeah, the Isle of Man TT has just finished last week, and this is just to raise a bit of awareness. If you've not heard of the Isle of Man TT because you're only into cars, go and have a look at some YouTube highlights. They've got it all on. They do a daily breakdown. Effectively, there's a little island that's in between Ireland and England, and each year they block off the whole island effectively, and they race on the roads around there. And if you ever go when the race isn't on, certain parts of that track, it's not a track most of the time, they're public roads, but they have no speed limits, which is fantastic. Like, that's great. That's one of the only places in the world that obviously except for outside Germany, and not too.
It's wild. It is so wild.
I just wanted to raise that one and go and check out the highlights on YouTube because they are nuts. And the people that do it, I think they had an average speed of 135 miles an hour, which is about 220 kilometers an hour. So it's an average speed on public roads. And it's not just a dead straight piece of road. It goes up and over a mountain and around the whole island. It's crazy. So yeah, go and have a look at that.
And you petrol heads should watch those because they're insane.
Yeah, that's it. It's crazy. It's honestly, I would not do that. They do it in sidecars. They do it in 1,000cc motorbikes, 600 twin series. They've got something for everybody. Well worth having a look at. But yeah.
Absolutely.
Now, look, the next piece of news is we've got some new cars that have come out that are quite exciting rather than
exciting or like, what's the word?
Controversial.
That's the word I'm looking for. Thank you.
So before we get onto the really controversial one, which we are late to the party on this one because it's been all over social media, I saw this one today, actually. It's the Mercedes AMG GT4. So even though this is an electric car, I was really excited about this. And it takes a lot for me to get excited about an electric car because this thing has over 1,100 horsepower. Now, not a looker. I'm not sure on the looks.
Oh God,
It's
what is going on?
Yeah. I mean, they've gone with the bile green, so okay, sure. There's some photos that we've got it on screen here, and the front of it looks like it's going to be trying to catch some krill. If you see
It looks like an anglerfish, like a you know what I'm talking about, with a little light hanging out.
Yeah, I don't know what it is with grills.
Not in the fun, menacing way.
Yeah, I don't know what it is with grills at the moment, but putting lights in grills, and we've got some other examples of this, but that's an interesting one too. So, yeah, but the 1,100 horsepower, that's just nuts. What are we doing? So,
what are you
the other thing
with
that was
that?
drive it really, really, really fast. Around the Isle of Man would be great. So one thing this does have though, is it does have that just stuck out with me. Again, the 1,169 horsepower is 860 kilowatts if you in Australia. It's got an 800 volt battery architecture. And I'm just reading this stat now off the blah, 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 the V8 experience, insurance, thrilling emotion, this PR talk. But there was something in here about charging that really, here we go. 460 kilometers of range with just 10 minutes of charging. That has the capability to do that. So what that just stood out to me is that's really exciting because you kind of go, cool, that we're getting close now to a stop to charge up, like you would stop to go into a fuel station for 10 minutes and then off you go. So I wanted to highlight the technology moving, and it's getting to a point where people like me can consider it more because I am a dinosaur, but also the 1,100 horsepower too, which just blew my mind. That was absolutely nuts. But yeah, what do you think of that?
Can do that. I think it's awful to look at. But I think the tech is really cool. The new iX3 that's coming out also does that 10-minute charging window. I think it's like 200 kilometers for them because smaller battery. But you're right, that fast charging technology is just like firing forward in development, which is awesome to see. I hate that color on that car. It is horrific. I think I called BMW's version of that neon wanker. And
I know the color.
Why it's coming back. But the other thing about this is it does that V8 experience. You remember have that live floor in the Range Rover?
Oh,
it uses those in this and will vibrate your butt to make you think of a V8 in it, not in your butt, in the seat in the car.
No, I got you. That's what that V8 experience dynamic thing that I saw. But I'm not a fan of that because it just makes this too artificial. It's not a V8, so just make it like one. That's my personal opinion, but I can see why they're doing it. So it's just, that's it.
And on to the next most annoying car we've seen lately.
Yes. Yeah. The Temu Ferrari.
Oh no. I feel so like split on this car. I don't want to like it, but part of me understands why they're doing it. But I hate the side silhouette. That right there. That, for those who are listening, there's a side profile of this car, and it looks like every other mid-size electric SUV, that little egg shape. And they've done some really cool aero work on this thing, which I think is really interesting. The front blade, the side skirts on the side, which are actually pulling air out, the carbon fiber wheels. They've done some really interesting engineering things on this car, but the outside is just disgusting. But the inside is stunning.
So we've just jumped. I think we missed what car we're looking at here, just for everyone who's not listening. So this is the Ferrari Luce. It's just been plastered over the internet. There's been so many AI videos made, even with Lewis Hamilton. There's the best one out there. You need to see it. Yeah. But yeah, to me, so go and have a look at it. You need to see it. But effectively what it is the first electric Ferrari that there's been, fully electric Ferrari. And it is literally just clearly dump an SUV, make it electric so we can sell more Ferraris. That's the idea behind it. But I figured this out. Yeah, I figured this out. It's the proportions are wrong. It's as simple as that.
Yeah.
It's not proportioned correctly. That's why it looks like a Timu Ferrari. So I am joking, obviously saying that, but it's all squashed and not tall enough or not wide enough, and it's wrong. It's all wrong, isn't it?
I know we're beating a dying prancing horse here, but like even in the Persangue, their SUV, it's got that long bonnet with a gorgeous kind of shape to it, and every Ferrari always has a gorgeous line, and this just looks like you coughed with a pencil. Like it just doesn't. And maybe the photos, but it just does not say beautiful Ferrari, even in the red photos, even in the yellow. It just doesn't look Ferrari. But unless you're on the inside where it's stunning, like stunning on the inside. I don't know why we can't just do that on the outside.
Yeah, looking at the interior, it needs to be good because, just look at the thing, right? But it's an electric Ferrari. We know people are going to buy this but it's not going to be the purists like us. It's going to be the guys who work in investment banking and they want to show that they're driving a Ferrari. They don't care.
In typical Ferrari fashion, that this is the people who have bought 269 or GTBs. They bought GTBs and now this is the car they drive to the shops. That's what this is going to be for.
Yeah, and look, we had this conversation at Aston Martin 15 years ago, which was 10 years ago, was that they brought out the SUV because they know that everyone's going to drive a Vantage or a V12, whatever it is, at the weekend, but then just get to work, they're missing out on a whole market segment where people are just going to buy a Range Rover or an X5, whatever. Now you can have two Ferraris in the garage or two Aston Martins in the garage rather than one, so that's the idea.
I know why they do it. It's just,
but then
it looks wrong.
And look, the market speaks for itself, right? The last year, there's been a lot of, I put a photo in the chat because the share price of Ferraris dropped about 30% in the last year, which is nuts. And that little last peak that you can see there, if you're really being anal, was the 26th of May, and that's when this car was announced. So the instant reaction to the car being released was a 5 to 10% drop in share price, which I found quite interesting too. If we're getting really nerdy, that is. But yeah, that's
you gotta make the boardroom happy.
So I don't know with that one. I'm talking like I'm about to go and buy a Ferrari. I'm not, but it's even if I had the money,
about the Matchbox version.
Even if I had the money, I'm not. I mean, that's so far down the list. It's not even funny, is it? That one.
No, I'd rather have the 40 grand, i20.
Yeah, I'm probably with you. It's the same color, right?
Actually.
Not far off.
Moving into...
Do you want me to take over on this one?
You might have to, because I've had a complete just...
Words are hard sometimes. I get it. So with the Pajero, I mean, look, we know what this is going to be. It's great that this is Mitsubishi bringing it back. Is that it is going to be from the Triton platform, and then they make an SUV body basically that goes on it. That's usually the way it goes. So to see the looks are going to be really interesting, but they've done my pet peeve with a press shot, which is some lights and you don't know what the thing bloody looks like. What is the point in even giving us this photo? Because it's so for people who can't see, there's a smoked photo with a light bar that goes across the front, and then down below where this bash plate would be, it says Pajero. So can't wait to take that on Fraser Island and smash those lights up. So that's going to be an interesting one too. So, but look, jokes aside, I like this class of car. It suits, I think it's great. So the SUV, I'd say this is large SUV, same sort of size as a Everest, as a competitor. But the current one, again, this is my favorite thing about the current Pajero Sport is the seats. The best, I'm telling you, the best seats ever put into a car. They are, I don't know what they did. They're incredible. They are so good.
They are good.
Yeah. Yeah. So
I think it's cool to see the Pajero name come back. And I think as long as they deliver on the Pajero name, they'll do well. It's a great car. Even older ones are still notoriously for being incredibly reliable and great off-road. And the Pajero Sport is really good off-road, even though it drives like a tractor on the street because it's just so damn slow. But
Yeah, they're slow,
it's a
and
great car, and I
yeah,
hope it does well.
yeah, I'm sure they will, and yeah, I'm excited to see it. I would really have liked a bit more than what we got, which was clearly just I could have probably written what they sent out. It was sure we're launching a new Pajero. It's coming soon. Here's a smoky photo which you can't see anything. Cool, but yeah, look, I'm sure more will be to follow. I'm probably being overly harsh there, so it's I'm excited to see one and see what's next for that Pajero. And yeah, that might mean a new Pajero Sport as well at some point. They haven't announced that. I'm guessing, so we'll see how that goes.
No,
but,
it'll be interesting to see. But we are coming to that time of year where any car that would have come out last year is now quite goodbye. So within the financial year coming up, we're June into July, there's probably going to be some great deals to be had, particularly around brands who've had a car that's not, maybe came out the last year, the year before, and is not quite as popular. So I think all you had been looking around at what some of the better buys were at the moment. Is that right?
Yeah. So moving into advice, just finishing off with the news, we're moving into advice. This is just something that came to me the other day, and working in both Lee and I have worked in the car industry for a long time, and now moving up towards the end of financial year, if you're in Australia, this is one of the best times of the year to buy a new car if you want to get a good deal. Now, not everyone's in the position to do that. I fully understand it. And I sound like a car salesman at this point, but I just put in the top 3 ways I wanted to put across of getting a best deal on your new car for this financial year. But his number 1 would be buy an X demo or an MY25. So dealers now are looking to finish their financial year. So they want to get as many deals in as they can before the end of the financial year. So they tend to, the older stock, they'll start discounting a bit more to push through. So it makes their end of financial years look a little bit better. The next one would be to buy close to the end of the month. Now, if I worked in a dealership, and I have worked in a dealership before, I would hate me for saying this. But the reality is, if you get close to the end of the month and you've got salespeople that are near their target, the chances are they're going to push their boss and their boss to get that deal through in that financial year. So they can not only hit their target, but so the business can hit their target too. So it's a little bit of a peek behind the curtain there. The only danger to if you're going to do that is you need to be, have your finance lined up, you might have to compromise on a color or a spec that you want, because you're going to have to buy the cars there. You can't order one for next month because then that deal's gone, right? So yeah, it has to be a car was there, and that kind of ties into point 1. And then the third point is just shop around. So there are exceptions to this. But if you're buying a new car, shop it against different dealers, and you might find that you get a better deal. Because if they've got 10 of one model in stock at one dealership, and that's the one you want, and they want to sell those 10 before the end of the month or the end of the financial year, well, you're going to get a better deal than if they've only got one left at a different dealer. So it's worth having a look at that. The only exception to that rule is if the company or the business you're trying to buy a car from is an agency model. So people like BYD, Honda, and Mercedes, just as a few examples, their stock is controlled centrally. This is a bit boring in Australia, so you can't really do much in terms of negotiation because they're all sourcing the cars from the same price. So yeah, if you're buying one of those, then go from there. So that was sort of top 3 tips, if you like. Lee, do you have anything to say on that?
Yeah, I'll have 2 things to add to that one. One being that if you're going to buy X demo or a model year older, just make sure that your warranty date is correct. So typically, whenever you buy a vehicle, the date your warranty starts is the day that it's registered or day it leaves the dealership, depending on the brand and how they look at it. So make sure that that's accurate. If you're buying an X demo, just know that typically your warranty date has already started. So if you've got a car has been on the showroom floor as a demo for 6 months, you're not going to get that 6 months of warranty because that would have started when the car became a demonstrator. So little things like that you have to worry about. But there are some definite gains to be had. I use Cupra as an example because I know they still have quite a bit of stock of Formentor. You can get a year-old Formentor that's never been registered, never been demoed for a very, very good deal, and that's an incredible car. So just looking for little things like that. And, it's not the brand new Formentor with the different headlights, but if you're not too fussed on that and that's not a deal breaker for you, that model year 25 or 24 is going to be a great, great buy. So
and they don't always make the
smart
car.
about it.
Yeah, and the car doesn't always get better every year as well. I've seen it with model years where they actually take features out of cars, particularly around COVID. That was really true with Mercedes. They took a lot of electric seats out and things like that because they just didn't have the components. And that the year model year 21.
Yeah, my Fiesta's a model year 21, but 22 registered because of COVID. And I've got blind spot monitoring and the better seats and the heated pieces that the Mark 8.5s never got because they didn't have the parts.
Yeah. So that's something to bear in mind too. It's not the latest model isn't always the best one. Sometimes they go backwards because manufacturers, they tend to design a car, release it, and then they try and pull as much money as they can out of it over the life cycle of the car. Really kind of boring insight there, but it's something to bear in mind too. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, look, that kind of it is. The only honorable mention I would say is if you are looking for a new car, and this is a bit of a selfish plug here from Lee and I, is that we are both car brokers in our spare time and what we do professionally, obviously, as well. So if you are looking for a new car, feel free to reach out or get in touch with us and we can have a conversation with you and see if we can save you some money on buying your next car. So yeah, but that's about it.
Email us at you can email us at lee@rightlanereviews.com or ollie@rightlanereviews.com. You can also send your feedback there as well. So if you're looking for a new car or have some questions, feel free to shoot us a line because we are most definitely across our emails quite often. I know I'm on them every day. We've got a few things coming up though that's going to be quite interesting. So no, we've got 4 cars we're filming this week. When Ollie lands on Tuesday, we have to do musical press cars, so that's going to be fun. 2 of those one of them is the Aceman we talked about before. We've got the i30N as well, so it'll be a fun comparison. The Ioniq 9 big SUV and a mystery BMW. So if you have any questions on those cars, again, shoot us a line or comment in the video below. And we'll try to get around to answering your questions as we get to filming and doing shorts and everything. I know we had some great questions on the Kia products, and that really helped us kind of craft how we were going to tell the story of those cars.
Yeah, definitely. And just on what's happening next. So we don't know what BMW we're going to get. So this is just a bit of fun. What out of the cars that you've just mentioned, if you could only own one, what do you think it would be? So now we can't. So basically what we've done there is we've taken a question from earlier with the Golf, excluded the Golf and gone, right, which one would you have? So which one out of the Hyundai N, Ioniq 9, Mini EC JCW, and then a mystery box from the BMW?
Because I just love the idea of a surprise and a little bit of fun, I would probably go mystery BMW because I don't think it's going to be bad either way.
That's true. Yeah.
That would be my go because I already have a Fiesta. So it would be a bit different for me. I think I know what you're going to pick, but I'm curious what your pick is.
I don't know. I don't know. I think it would be the Hyundai N. Is that what you thought I'd choose? Mm-hmm. Yeah. It would be.
But I was like, he's going to want the i30.
Yeah. But it's not that. It's the sedan we've got though, isn't it?
Yep.
Yeah. So
sedan.
Yeah. So that would be the choice, but it wouldn't be the preferred choice. I'd want the hatch if I had a choice, but yeah.
No. The N's better the sedan's better on the inside, but that's
you are right. It has I've noticed that I've sat in both, and the interior is better. I just prefer the hatch, to be honest.
That's fair. Yeah. I'm curious to see. We're going to have all those cars at the same time, so it'll be fun to compare them kind of side by side, because it'd be different classes of car, but there's a little bit of overlap, like we said before, with like the Aceman JCW and the I-30, with their performance characteristics, even though they're approached very, very differently. It's gonna be interesting.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think that's pretty much all we had on the list. So, if you guys are enjoying the podcast, enjoying the reviews and the videos, don't forget to like and subscribe and share with your friends and family. If for those who enjoy the ramblings of two car nuts. Ollie, did you have anything else to add on your list before we wrap up?
No, that's it. Just a massive thank you for everyone. I think we've had a really good response from the review that we've put out on the EV5 so far. I think we've had about 1,000 views on that for a channel just coming back. Just I'm completely overwhelmed with that. It seems like a small thing probably to some people, but I'm really appreciative of that. And yeah, thank you for watching. And any questions or anything that you would like to ask us or ask about the cars, like Lee said, feel free to email us or drop us a comment on one of our videos, and we'll see what we can do for you.
Well, thanks again, everyone, for watching and listening, and we'll see you in a couple of weeks. So in the meantime, make sure to keep the shiny side up. Bye, guys.